Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Tony.
I'm John.
And today we are talking about Mega Man 64, specifically a development and debug version of Mega Man 64, which is a port of Mega Man Legends on the PlayStation. John, why don't we talk a little bit about the cartridge here? What exactly is a development cart?
So it's a cart that you could sort of like, flash a game to. And it's a nice way to take the program you've got on your computer, pop it onto this, plug it into a physical Nintendo 64, and have people play test, have people test new mechanics. Yeah, they're kind of interesting. This one seems to be an NUS 16F 32SBA. The Daikatana that we reviewed is a -B, not a -A. And this, you can tell, is the much larger version because it's 512M plus 256K.
Yeah. So the NUS you see here stands for Nintendo Ultra 64, which was the original name and original branding of the Nintendo 64 before it had to change its name. I've also heard some people say that the NUS stands for other things, so if you happen to know, let me know in the comments below what you think it stands for. The number after that describes the circuit board. And the second number describes the amount of flash memory. So for example, the 512 you see is 512 megabits, which is 64 megabytes, which is the biggest that an N64 cart could be. Although the actual retail game size is actually a bit less than that. And then it also says Cap 64, and someone just kind of crossed that off and then put a sticker Mega Man 64.
Yeah, I like how they're both very, very cheap printed stickers.
Yeah, because they're not retail ready. Who cares, right?
This is not, you're not, sending this out to a magazine saying like, hey, what do you think of this presentation of the name?
Exactly.
When it's like something that a kid could have made with like one of those little like label makers.
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the day.
And to your point, sometimes these were actually sent out as promotional items to game magazines, and people would review them in advance, that kind of thing. Generally, when I see a bunch of scribbling and handwriting on these, I assume they didn't go to a gaming magazine. I assume they were in-house specifically for development. It's interesting because this game is kind of half-baked in terms of being ported, both from the PlayStation to the N64, and also from Japanese to English. It's like it's working its way towards being in English, but it's not quite there. If you take a look at the opening here, it's Japanese voiceover and English writing. But if you take a look at the Japanese version, Rockman Dash, it's Japanese voiceover, Japanese writing. And here's the final English version, which is English voiceover and English language writing.
Patches of land that remain above the sea. The people of this world rely on ancient technology driven by quantum refractors.
And aside from the game itself actually being in Japanese, it has other remnants of the Japanese version. So for example, originally you could attack non-aggressive animals, but this was kind of taboo and removed in the English version. So here's me just kicking the crap out of this stray cat. And if that was offensive or you didn't like that, now you can enjoy me getting beat up by a bunch of stray dogs. In this particular version that's on this cartridge, you're going to see a lot of prompts for PlayStation commands. Like X and
square, circle, triangle,
all that
L2,
stuff.
Things that were nowhere to be found on a 64 controller.
Exactly. So in addition to this being in Japanese, it is also a debug version. Now there was a Debug Rom that made its way onto the internet of Mega Man 64. I'm not sure if this is from the same series or not. It seems to be.
Yeah.
It has basically the same features, which is kind of nice, but essentially what you do in the main menu, in the options menu, you press right C, and you have a whole plethora of options from choosing the stage to the area, different items, you can max out your money, you can get different equipment, and basically jump into any part of the game with any combination of equipment. which is perfect for, well, debugging and testing, right?
Yeah. You want to be able to make it so that your character is in the same condition, you're putting them through the same event to see if you can get a repeatable bug.
Yes.
You don't want to go through 15, 20, 30, 80 hours of gameplay to do one test run and then have to do it 15 more times to make sure that your crash log is the same each time.
Yes.
That would be not only just expensive, but infuriating to go through.
Exactly. But, aside from it being in Japanese with PlayStation prompts and there being a debug option, this game is the same as the retail version. So there aren't really any other differences or beta elements in this version. It's essentially a midway ported port of the game. I guess you could kind of call it that, I suppose.
Yeah, it's definitely it's still a work in progress,
which is still pretty damn neat because it's Mega Man. It's Mega Man when Capcom cared about Mega Man. That's some good stuff right there.
That is no longer the case.
No, they've been trying to kill that boy off for a while now, unfortunately. In one of our last videos, people mentioned, hey, why didn't you open up the dev card? I didn't even think about it. So here's some pictures back here. You can take a look. These are the innards of Mega Man 64. Note all of those black boxes. That's actually the flash memory for the cartridge. So like we said earlier, this is the largest an N64 card could get, and looking at the inside you can really tell because it's just chock full of flash memory. One thing before we go here, best practices regarding dev carts in general, especially N64 dev carts, they are very volatile. They're kind of fragile in that they can...
They're ephemeral.
They can basically destroy themselves.
Yes, they can.
You never want to power them on unless you know that a backup exists.
Yeah, because you may have one of these test rigs here that is on its absolute last legs and maybe only has a couple more power-ons in it, or it has some sort of software terminator or something in it.
Yeah.
And that way you can just say okay, I've backed it up. Now I can open Project 64 and play it in that. Make a couple of copies in case one self-terminates. And then you're good.
Exactly, yeah.
Then you can just chuck this one in a toilet bowl like Tony and I did, and you'll be fine.
Exactly. So, historical preservation is extremely important. We backed this up before we ever booted it up, and that's pretty much the reason why we have it is because Andrew, who let us borrow it, thank you very much again, of course, asked us if we would dump the cartridges for him, which we did.
And you can definitely tell I'm a lot more willing to gesticulate with this now that it's been backed up, where before I was
we're oh God, oh lordy, Lord, please, be careful, be careful.
Ka-chunk.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, don't let anything happen. So, that said, we definitely appreciate you guys watching. If there's any sort of prototype or development content you would like to see on the channel, let us know in the comments below. And aside from that, we appreciate you guys subscribing and clicking the notification button.
If you know anybody who has one, hit us up.
Let us know. And we will see you guys next time.
Next time, Gadget. Next time.
Thank you again, everybody, for watching, and if you would like to see more DevCart videos, we definitely have those, or if you want to see another Mega Man video that we actually did a Mega Man review for the Wonder Swan. And if you're wondering, what the heck is a Wonder Swan? Now is a good time to find out. Go ahead and click or tap the box on your screen.